Hello humans, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, we shape and polish opal using a dremel. If that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing. Today we're going to be working on this piece of stayish opal that just has colors that are just beneath the surface. You can see them kind of trying to shine through, but man, I am so sure this one's really going to shine bright once we shape it. So the thing about stayish is when you try to shine a flashlight through it, it doesn't really shine through, so you can't really see if there's going to be any problems with it. But when we weigh this piece out, the starting weight is 5.79 carats. So if you guys want to see how this piece of black opal gets shaped and polished, stay tuned. So starting out with a bit of a game plan here, I'm going to make this section here that is nice and flat the bottom. I want to take advantage of that, and I see a nice bit of color coming from this peak here at the top. So I'm going to make that the face, and we should be able to get a nice oval cab out of this piece. So starting the shaping process, I started by taking down that point a little bit. I had originally planned to make this a nice teardrop shape, but that tip ended up chipping off a little bit, so I made an executive decision to turn it into an oval, which, you know, we all love a good oval. So this is my first time working on stayish opal, and something that I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit is that it's a bit softer than the wellow opal that I'm used to working on, and when I'm dipping it in the water, it's absorbing the water really wicked fast. So it's like as soon as I'm dipping it into the water, it's absorbing it. I'm having to re-dip and re-dip the stone over and over and over, and the color definitely did go away a lot. So I heard somewhere that stayish opal isn't always hydrophane, but this piece is definitely 100% hydrophane. In fact, it's more hydrophane than the opals that I'm used to working on. And when a stone in the past for me has absorbed water really fast, I've noticed that it's more fragile and more prone to cracking than other stones. And you guys can kind of see here how I'm trying to dip into the water a lot, but as soon as I bring it up to that blade, it starts to dust up the bit. So I guess that's something to keep in mind if you're working on stayish. I did get this stayish off of Etsy years ago when I first found out about stayish opal, and it could be a problem with the quality of this piece or the pieces that I got, but it was very soft. It did very rapidly absorb the water. So once I got a nice ovular shape to it, I started bringing it to my Nova points, and since these have a bit of a finer grit, it didn't dry out so quickly, but since it was so soft, I did end up doing quite a bit of the shaping on the brown and the black Nova points. Before I started on my Nova points, it was quite lumpy, bumpy. The back was pretty irregular, but once I was done with a black Nova point, it was pretty much a nice oval shape. So don't be too concerned about being super delicate on the original diamond bit, because once you're working on the black and the brown Nova points, it's really going to be forgiving and helping you get it to a pleasing shape. Of course, once you get to the silver and the pink Nova point, it's all about making it polish, making it look good. And something about black opal, or at least this black opal, is that the scratches showed up way more stark and easy to see than other opals, because these scratches turn up white on top of the black stone, so it's really easy to detect them and try to get them smoothed out. But when I was done with the pink Nova Point, even though I had been checking on it and making sure that it was, looking alright, I still did see a lot of little scratches in it, which kind of worried me a little bit. But it's not always a bad thing if there's scratches on it, and I oftentimes let that fly. You guys can kind of see here how there is no play of color left in it, like at all, and there's like this little splotchy piece on the side, which I'm assuming is some potch. At this point in time, it is 2.4 carats, so I'm so sure it has plenty of water in it. And then this is it once it dried out, and you guys can see that those colors are phenomenal. Some of the best color I have ever seen. So going into polishing it, I wanted to be safe, and I put it on a dopping stick with the super glue. Now, this is the first real piece of stayish that I've gotten this far working on, and I probably should have went and done the polishing just with my hands, but I didn't want to drop it. I didn't want to lose it. I dropped it a couple of times in the shaping process, and I wanted to play it safe, so to speak, by putting it on the dopping stick. And once I got it nice and polished, it was just a stunning piece. I remember sitting there looking at this piece on the stick after I finished going through all the grits before I dunked it in the acetone, and I was just thinking, wow, this is the most beautiful opal I've ever seen. It has just these three fantastic patterns in it, had a nice broad piece, nice little piece of chaff in the middle, as well as a kind of mossy pattern in the side, and it really had captivated my heart. But when I soaked it in the acetone to get it off the dopping stick to polish the back, it went really light colored all of a sudden, which it didn't really do when it was drying out. And you guys can see here, and the final weight of it is 1.98 carats, but you guys can see how much paler this piece has gotten, and there is a crack in the back, several cracks in the back, in fact, and a crack in the face. And so here I'm kind of trying to show that off, but also this color is fantastic. You can see the the crack goes right through that little potchy mark, and it did something weird where it got all these milky ridges around the edges, and I'm just gonna take this as a opportunity to talk about how this is the biggest disappointment of all of my opal cutting. Now, I've never had such a beautiful black opal in all my days, and it really, to me, is just was the perfect opal before it cracked. So I guess if you're gonna be working on stayish, don't let that thing touch the acetone, because I am certain that is what ruined the stone, and it's a real damn shame. I've never been so disappointed in all my years than I was this day, and when I saw those cracks, I sat down and I stared at them, and I shed some tears. I mourned for this stone because it was perfect. So yeah, these kinds of things happen though, and if you've been here, know that you're not alone. And I've never before considered quitting cutting opal until I shaped this stone, It was really devastating, but you know, obviously I'm gonna keep going because I care about Opal. I had another piece of stayish, as you can see here, that was also a beautiful piece of stayish that I was really excited to shape. I was gonna make it a teardrop. It was gonna be awesome. And this was a few weeks ago. I didn't talk about it because I was so disappointed. But yeah, as soon as I brought this piece up to my dremel, it just broke right in half. It broke into 2 pieces. I mean, I can use it for something, but that's something else that makes this stone such a big disappointment for me. But, you know, better luck next time. I appreciate all of your guys' support on my channel, and I swear I'm gonna get a black opal that will work out at some point. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing, give me a thumbs up and all that stuff. Leave a comment if you have anything to comment about. Share this with a friend if you have even a single friend to share this with. And I'll see you guys next time that I make a video. Later.